Anyway, this story is really about Allfinanz. It's a bit of a joke, a 10-year fast exit, obviously, but I suppose it ended up being quite a fast exit at the end. It took us a long time to get to a position where we were able to sell the business. When it came, it happened pretty fast. But let me tell you a little bit about Allfinanz. So Allfinanz was started in 1987. It spent about the first 10 years of its life building life administration systems. So after about 10 years, and with the advent of web technology, we moved into automated underwriting. So really what we built was, we built a platform, a new business processing platform, that effectively uses the web to capture your application details, your client details, your doctor details. But at the core of the system was effectively a rules-based underwriting engine, which was able to automate the underwriting process and effectively be able to make underwriting decisions at the point of sale. So that was really sort of the main focus of the business. So really the Allfinanz exit strategy, I suppose, did we have an exit strategy? I suppose we knew we weren't going to IPO, especially after you see some of the figures. But the first step we had was we had a start and we failed. We failed at the start. So the first process, of course, is we actually had to, how do we make ourselves? We had to get some modicum of success, something to actually make someone want to buy us. And we really survived from limping, I suppose, or from one deal to another to about 2005. From 2005 onwards, then the business started to change. We started to win repeatable business. We started to look at other markets. We followed what you might call a sort of a colonial strategy. We looked at other English-speaking markets, but effectively where we knew they had a similar life insurance regime. That was important. The same sort of characteristics within the life insurance as were in the UK, because we'd been successful. We started to win some repeatable business in the UK. But it was a point of we started to win those repeatable deals, win a number of them, and we started to understand why are we winning. And then the real question was, okay, well now maybe we'll get out of survival mode, and how do we decide how we're going to bring the business forward and really try and grow it from here? So we went through a sort of a strategic review, and there's a sort of a strategy framework that I use, which I'm going to share with you, and it's very simple, but it's something I use in my current business today. And the questions are very obvious and very simple, but it's really, I suppose, how much you stress yourself and how much you challenge yourself to really get the answers of these questions. I think that makes the difference. Anyway, before or after, I suppose, this process, really, we had. Our strategy and goals were sort of implied. We just want to be successful. We wanted to sell more, but they were non-explicit. And also, I suppose, to a certain extent, they were unambitious. Strategy was definitely not owned as a company. We needed to sort of get that alignment, make sure everyone knew where we were going, make sure we're all rowing in the right direction. We didn't really have an understanding of why we were winning. Now we did. We started to win repeatable business. We could understand why we were winning. It was like developing a formula. We developed a formula for how to win and how to win new business. And that was important. And then it's about replicating that very strongly. And the company, of course, is in survival mode. So that does, of course, mirror whatever you're doing. But after this process, after we now started to gain a little bit of traction and momentum, we had very explicit goals. And the fact is that we knew when we started to achieve our first base camp, it gave us confidence in our ability to achieve our next base camp. And that gave us confidence in our ability to hit whatever summit we were aiming for. So in terms of when we got to 2007, we had our revenues raised by about 80%, but more importantly, our forecast going forward had actually increased by about 80%. And this was really understanding our competitive advantage, leveraging it. As I said, we ended up going through a position over about a 2 or 3 year period where we ended up winning 12 out of the 14 big deals that we ended up going for. So we really sort of leveraged that well. Second step, finding our buyer. And really the obvious targets, and all tech companies at the time were looking at, they're looking at systems integrators in their area. That was an obvious area. Other potential IT companies. And we did have sort of expressions of interest from a number of other IT companies as we went along. But we also looked at the value chain for life insurance. And the fact is that Allfinanz touches each one of those people in different ways. So we very quickly, it was very clear there was a lot of interest here. And we ended up signing a partnership agreement in 2007. And the partnership, really, what was the proposition of the partnership? So we had our system, we had a technology system, and that system had an underwriting rules engine. And you needed to put rules into that engine. We were not underwriters. So in fact, normally what we did is we gave it to our customers and they put in the rules. But the proposition with Munich Re was that they would have a Munich Re set of underwriting rules that would be pre-packaged with our product, and that would be put in there. But what it also offered was for life insurance companies who didn't have strong underwriting resources or indeed didn't want to do underwriting themselves, they could effectively use our system and then outsource that activity to Munich Re. So this was a really good business proposition from a Munich Re perspective. We were very happy with it. We now had Munich Re pushing us into their client base as well, which is obviously huge around the world. So it was a really good partnership. They gave us an expression of interest in May in 2007. So we went through a process, obviously, to engage with them and to tell them about our business and what our expectations were. So the real key was to understand what value we had to them, and then to be able to ensure that they did not feel like they were being ripped off. So you had to come up with a credible story as to why the multiples and why it was worth it. And that was sort of a process we ended up going through over a couple of months. But in terms of closing the deal, what was very good was throughout the negotiation period, this final negotiation period, the partnership had continued to perform. We had also continued to perform on the back of that as well as independently. So we had continued to win deals. They had continued to win deals on the back of our deals. And then we finally, anyway, we sold the business for 48 million in September 2007.